Hogwarts Legacy 2 just got a massive update, and Warner Brothers has officially put the sequel in writing for the first time in an official capacity. We've had rumors, job listings, and comments from executives for months, but this is different, because this time, the information comes directly from Warner Brothers Discovery's Q2 2026 shareholder documents. And the specific wording buried inside that document is pretty interesting, because it could mean that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is moving from being a very well-known secret to becoming one of Warner Brothers' biggest official priorities. And the timing makes this even more interesting. With the upcoming HBO Harry Potter series and Back to Hogwarts Day only weeks away, Warner Brothers has a very narrow window where it could potentially show us something related to the sequel. But there is a catch. Some of the previous job listings from Avalanche Software appear to be pointing towards something very different. So, what exactly did Warner Brothers say? Let's break everything down. The document we're talking about comes from Warner Brothers Discovery's second quarter 2026 shareholder letter, which was published recently. Buried inside the section discussing the company's gaming business was this line: "We expect games to meaningfully contribute to segment profitability going forward as our pipeline expands, including the second installment of Hogwarts Legacy." And that's it. There was no trailer, there was no logo, there was no gameplay. Warner Brothers didn't suddenly announce a release date or give us a huge reveal. But they did something that is still pretty important. They officially mentioned the second installment of Hogwarts Legacy in a document intended for investors. These shareholder documents are essentially a financial pulse check. Warner Brothers uses them to explain the company's performance, its future plans, and the projects that could have an impact on the business going forward. So when a company specifically names a game like this, it tells investors that this project is part of the company's future pipeline. And considering how successful the first Hogwarts Legacy was, that really shouldn't come as a surprise. But I do want to clarify something, because I've already seen people online saying that this is the first time Warner Brothers has ever acknowledged Hogwarts Legacy 2. That's not actually true. If you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I've talked about the sequel many times. Warner Brothers has already described Hogwarts Legacy as a major priority, and we've also had reports indicating that Avalanche Software is working on a sequel. So the existence of Hogwarts Legacy 2 isn't new information. What is interesting is that the sequel has now appeared directly inside Warner Brothers Discovery's investor documentation. At the very least, this gives us another official confirmation that the project is still moving forward. And honestly, after months of rumors and speculation, it's pretty nice to finally see the sequel sitting there in black and white. There's another interesting part of Warner Brothers Discovery's recent comments. During the second quarter discussion, the company talked about its new strategy for gaming, which is centered around some of its biggest franchises. We're talking about Harry Potter, Batman, Game of Thrones, and Mortal Kombat. Warner Brothers highlighted several recent and upcoming projects as part of this new focus, including LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight and Game of Thrones Dragonfire. But when Warner Brothers talked about the future, one game stood out, you guessed it, Hogwarts Legacy 2. The company described the sequel as the biggest individual title it has to look forward to. And that makes complete sense when you look at what happened with the first game. Hogwarts Legacy became a massive success and introduced millions of players to an open world version of the Wizarding World. So Warner Brothers knows exactly how valuable this franchise is. They also mentioned having a detailed plan for the next 3 to 5 years, with plenty of projects to look forward to. And if Hogwarts Legacy 2 is being singled out as one of the biggest individual titles in that pipeline, then clearly Warner Brothers has some very big expectations for this game. Now, the obvious question is, when are we actually going to see it? And this is where things get interesting. We've talked before about the job listings connected to Avalanche Software, and these listings have created a lot of speculation. Some of the positions were looking for experienced developers to work on online multiplayer systems. We're talking about things like scalable back-end services, player data persistence, matchmaking, lobbies, and server infrastructure. There were also listings related to an unnamed online RPG, including roles involving world design and narrative design. And one of the particularly interesting parts was the mention of multiplayer frameworks, including things such as PvP, PvE, matchmaking, and live service updates. Now, obviously, this doesn't automatically mean that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is becoming a multiplayer live service game. That's an important distinction. A job listing for an online RPG doesn't necessarily tell us what that game actually is, but it does raise some very interesting possibilities, because there are a couple of ways this could go. One possibility is that Avalanche is working on Hogwarts Legacy 2 as the traditional single-player sequel. You know, the game most of us are expecting. A bigger open world, more RPG mechanics. But the second project could potentially be something completely different. It could be an online game set within the Wizarding World. Imagine something built around a Hogwarts style multiplayer experience where you can create your own character, join your friends, explore the world together, and actually feel like you're attending Hogwarts. You could have classes, magical activities, quests, and maybe even competitive modes. And yes, I know what some of you are thinking. Please don't turn Hogwarts Legacy into a live service game. And honestly, I understand that concern. We've seen plenty of live service games launch with huge promises and then completely fall apart. But personally, I think there's a way to make multiplayer work in the wizarding world without destroying what made Hogwarts Legacy special. Imagine being able to walk around Hogwarts with your friends. You attend classes together. You learn new spells. You explore forbidden areas. You fight enemies. You complete quests. You could even have different houses competing against each other. That could actually be pretty incredible. But again, I want to make this very clear. This is speculation based on job listings. We don't currently have confirmation that Avalanche is making a Hogwarts online game, so don't take this as an announcement. It's simply one possibility that these job listings have opened up. Now let's talk about the sequel itself, because while Hogwarts Legacy was a fantastic game, it wasn't perfect. And there is one area where I really want the sequel to improve: the world. I want Hogwarts Legacy 2 to make the wizarding world feel much bigger. The first game gave us Hogwarts, Hogsmeade, and a huge surrounding area, but I want the sequel to push this concept much further. Give us more locations. Give us more magical towns, give us more areas outside Hogwarts. Let us properly explore places beyond the familiar locations we've already seen. And most importantly, make those areas feel alive. I want characters walking around. I want random events happening. I want magical creatures appearing in unexpected places. I want the world to feel like it's actually functioning even when we're not involved, because that's where the sequel could really shine. Imagine leaving Hogwarts and traveling to another magical village, meeting completely new characters, discovering hidden locations, and getting involved in stories that have nothing to do with the main quest. That's the kind of open world experience I want from Hogwarts Legacy 2. And if Warner Brothers really wants this sequel to become one of its biggest games, then expanding the world is going to be extremely important. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is real, it's still in development, and Warner Brothers is clearly treating it as one of its biggest upcoming gaming projects. Now we just need them to actually show us the game, because after all this waiting, I think we're all ready to see what Avalanche has been cooking. But what do you guys think? Would you want Hogwarts Legacy 2 to remain a purely single-player RPG, or would you actually like to see a separate multiplayer Wizarding World game? And what do you think the sequel needs to improve the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more Hogwarts Legacy and gaming news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.